Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. John Deaton posted this yesterday. What's the best explanation for why Bitcoin is holding up so well when the stock market is down over 600 points, okay? So he's noticing tech stocks and other risk assets are down, and the Fed has indicated that it will continue to raise rates. What is this saying about Bitcoin? Guys, I've got the S&P 500 up here, and I still have the scribbles on the chart from the last time we were discussing this. We were discussing the possibility that we could see markets continue to plummet. Obviously, the economy's weak, interest rates are going up, people are feeling the squeeze. Just yesterday, you guys can see the S&P did come down. This is looking like we're seeing some bearish movement for the S&P 500. Although we did see a new higher high here on the daily. And we are, technically we are seeing these higher lows as well. This is still forming a downward channel. So, I guess it depends on how you're looking at this and if you are, where you're actually taking the measurement from. So we are still seeing on the macro time frame, lower highs and lower lows. If I bring up the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we can notice the same kind of thing. Wow, take a look at that actually. Let me just zoom in on there. A bearish day yesterday for the Dow Jones. Very, very bearish. Here, let me get rid of some of this. And what can we see here? So no new higher highs for the Dow Jones. We're just kind of maintaining, we're not even hitting this level of resistance here. We're actually below that. So technically lower highs. I guess the question is, are we going to see this come down past this mark here, eventually forming a new lower low? We don't know. Interesting, too, to notice that if I throw a Fibonacci here on the Dow Jones, we did actually see it retrace to the 0.702 back in December of last year. So late November, early December of last year. And, it's just not cracking that 0.702. So the retracement level, 702, that also usually dictates a move to the downside. But to John Deaton's point here, Bitcoin is actually looking fairly good compared to the rest of the market. Now, traditionally what we've discussed is that Bitcoin is an uncorrelated asset class, but then we decided, no, Bitcoin is moving in tandem with the market to some degree. Well, now it's not again. Okay, Bitcoin is still doing its own thing. The typical moves for Bitcoin that we generally see, we haven't really seen much movement for Bitcoin, although over the last 2 months now, 2023, looking positive for the king crypto. And, this is also translating to the rest of the market since the beginning of the year. So right up here, Bitcoin is actually up 46%, 46.32%. XRP is also looking bullish comparatively, taking XRP from the beginning of the year, right over here. That would be January the 1st. XRP only up 16.3%, but still up nonetheless. So the crypto market, an asset class perhaps in its own, not following traditional markets. I like to see this personally because, I'm already worried that cryptocurrency is going to be correlated to other asset classes down the road, just because of the way they want to regulate it and because of the rules that they're going to be putting in is really going to dictate how cryptocurrency as a whole moves in the coming years. Right now, we're lucky, though. We are still seeing that uncorrelated asset. We can still rely on the 4-ish year Bitcoin cycle. And, the halving is coming up in 2024. All these signs that we're currently seeing for the market is, par for the course of what we've seen in the past. And the predictability is good. CryptoCon here also saying, the Bitcoin bull market is here. Sometimes things really are this simple. Monthly RSI is crossing over the simple moving average, allowing you a chance to buy at prices right after the optimal range. So what is this optimal range? Well, guys, take a look here. Monthly RSI bull crosses. You guys can see that from back in 2015, 2019, and now in 2023. The optimal buying range here, hindsight is always 2020, but we can see patterns here, right? The bottom of the market, and then this first candlestick here before the uptrend. Here we're also seeing the same thing, optimal buying range here, and the first candlestick before that move up. And then obviously that was followed by a bull market. And now in 2023, after the bear market of 22, we've got the optimal buying range here, followed by this first candlestick, guys. And what we are assuming is that a bull market is going to follow that. Now we correlate that to what is going on down here. Obviously, the yellow down here, the SMA, RSI, SMA, and then the blue is the RSI. And so we're seeing this crossover, bullish cross. That happened once before the bull market started back in 2015. We saw it happen again in 2019. And guys, it is happening once again in 2023. So, all signs are pointing to this. Waiting for lower prices after this happened would have never paid off. So now is the time. I mean, now is the time to accumulate. And, that is just the Bitcoin chart. But of course, all cryptocurrencies are following this same rhythm. I've got the total 2 up here. And total 2, let me get rid of some of this. Total 2 also coming out of the bearish slump. At its low, we saw it down about 75%. And look at that, holding those levels of support quite tightly. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. We're up a little bit now, but still, guys, a good opportunity to buy, some of the coins that are still in the dirt. I would say, and this is not financial advice, XLM, a good buying opportunity right now. It's still down 88%, so more than the average of the total 2 market cap. Algorand recently popped. However, it is still down about 90% since that high that we saw back in November of 21. So although it has popped, it is still down more than the average. And of course, we've got XRP here down off that inter-year high that we saw back in 2021, down over 80%. So again, guys, these are WEF coins, strong value-added cryptocurrencies that are down more than the average of the total market cap. So definitely something to be paying attention to. Again, I want to reiterate, not financial advice. I'm just letting you know where my head is at right now. Let's take a look at HBAR real quickly here. As you guys know, I did purchase HBAR at the end of the year, end of 2022, and now it's down 86%, even after this huge rally that we saw for HBAR. It was down at its low 93.9, so almost 94%, and I got in at about 93%, 92.95. So even HBAR, even if you were to purchase it today, we are seeing a bit of a dip. You're still buying it down 86% off that all-time high. Some food for thought. Wanted to thank CryptoCon here and obviously John Deaton just for letting us in on some of his insight. Nerd Nation Unbox here posting this, guys. There is a Flare Network showcase. They're going to be showcasing the interoperability with NFT purchases using Dogecoin and XRP. This live demo is scheduled for later today, so if you guys are watching this, it's probably happening as of the time that I'll be releasing this. So around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Flare Networks will demonstrate the Layer 1 Ethereum virtual machine-based blockchain interoperable capabilities today by purchasing NFTs on Flare using Dogecoin and XRP. So here we have it, the live demo. Dogecoin XRP to trustlessly buy an NFT on Flare. And the demo is happening again, guys, today, February the 22nd, if you're watching this video when it's coming out, at around 1400 hours UTC, which translates to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Want to keep moving along? XRP Healthcare just released a new update. The total supply of XRP-H tokens is fixed at 100 million, and the issuing address was black hole 2 weeks after the token's inception. This means that the token supply will never increase beyond 100 million tokens. So this coming out just yesterday, and if you guys aren't familiar, XRP Healthcare is an organization that is looking to incorporate healthcare on the XRP ledger. They produce their own token, the XRP-H token, and they're saying it's capped at 100 million coins. So token supply will not increase. Just an announcement there, powered on the XRP ledger. Interesting to see what will happen with that project. I'm always really interested in new projects being built on the XRP ledger. Of course, there's also Ripple and the cryptic tweets. The unusual decisions that the CTO at Ripple decides to make every now and then. This is the latest that's gotten the XRP community scratching their head. Now, is this good? Is this bad? David Schwartz, okay, so I guess I should explain. David Schwartz changed his Twitter banner just recently, and this is what it reads. Ripple, when a scrappy financial startup takes on a web of corruption and betrayal to bring instant payments to the masses, they learn that the cost of disrupting the status quo is higher than they could have ever imagined, forcing them to decide between their vision and their survival. That's, to me, on the surface, does not sound too good. Or does it? We got some glass half full, glass half empty people in the community unpacking this. And, when I saw this too, I was kind of wondering, what does that mean exactly? Is it just a statement David Schwartz is saying, or is he kind of letting us in on something that we should know about, considering we've all been very optimistic about the lawsuit thus far? So some are saying, this might not be good for the Ripple lawsuit, that, Ripple may have some insight on where this is going. Well, obviously, the people at Ripple obviously do know where this is going, likely, and their lawyer, obviously, because their lawyers have been communicating the, the progress with them. But of course, they can't let us know right away. So is this David Schwartz's way of telling us something good is happening or something bad is happening? Anders here on Twitter posting this. When he does this, we don't know if it's good or bad for XRP, or whatever he really means. Of course, David Schwartz, always very cryptic, so it's more frustrating than anything. but it could definitely relate to the anger of Hoskinson and others as of late. I'll leave it at that. So if you guys don't remember, Charles Hoskinson also lashed out at the SEC just with regards to, I believe it was the Kraken verdict when that came out. Spanish billionaire down here saying, I understand his frustration, but it's not particularly professional, is it? How does this make the hundreds of staff around the world feel? I agree, says Anders. It's not helpful at all, in my opinion. It confuses holders of XRP. It's probably not good for Ripple employees' morale. Not the smartest to put up during litigation, etc. Which makes me wonder, because I know David Schwartz, very calculated individual. I don't know if what he's trying to do is warn us, what he's trying to do is, alleviate our stress. I mean, you could read this in a couple of different ways. So he goes on to say, we don't know what he actually means either. Is his libertarian dream shattered, or is it worse? Hopefully, slamming the door means a settlement that provides clarity for Ripple only. Every man for himself after that. This coming from Lee Rock Marblestone here on Twitter. So could it be that Ripple gets clarity, but everybody who has purchased XRP after that, so the secondary sales, maybe we're on our own? Anders here saying it definitely sounds like that. We also have to consider the fact that, the SEC only has jurisdiction in the United States. So the foreign purchasers of XRP, the non-American purchasers of XRP, are they going to be subject to American legislation with regards to XRP if they decide to trade to an American, let's say, or do they have to now trade to somebody else? And how does that work? I mean, if you're trading for market value on an exchange, how would you even know? All things that get me scratching my head. Next Gen Cap down here saying, seems the tweet lately out of legal counsel. Now, David, pointing towards a bad outcome. At this point, I just want an outcome. Sounds like a harsh settlement in terms from the SEC. So some insight here. Johnny at Sugarcoat posting this, the betrayal part. What do they mean by the betrayal? Anders posting a photo of Jed McCaleb. Now, you guys know the story of Jed McCaleb, how he was the co-founder of Ripple and then left to create Stellar. Makes the most sense. Who would your second pick be, though? Says Johnny. Well, if you look down here in the replies, Anders responds with this. Hard to tell, but I think this one has a high probability of betrayal. There were 15 senior executives from JP Morgan in Ripple's office this afternoon, and that was from December of 2017, when Ripple thought they could actually have formal and civil discussions with the SEC, and discuss this concept of selling XRP and, maybe getting clarity before a lawsuit occurred. Well, clearly that was not the case. And if I were to have to guess, I would also pick the about face, not from JP Morgan necessarily, but from the SEC. That's who my choice would be. Bill Morgan here also mentioning this. Perhaps it means Ripple, to move past the lawsuit, has to agree in order to settle the dispute or survive, as per David Schwartz's cryptic message here. They have to decide between their vision and their survival. So let me just go back to that. So in order to settle the dispute, to survive to a level of regulation that will add a layer or an intermediary and friction where none is needed by the technology, to the disadvantage of all users of XRP transfers. So that's an interesting concept. Let me explain. What he's saying here is that maybe the compromise has something to do with Ripple having to create an inferior technology, add a level of friction, for example, within the XRP ledger, or within RippleNet, I guess, more specifically, so that the banks, the incumbents, can still make their money because the transactions will not be as seamless as Ripple originally intended. So again, this would, set technology back, obviously, a few steps. But for XRP holders, I don't think it would affect us that much. I read it as this: their survival, settle the case and get clarity for XRP only, versus their vision, getting the court decision that can be used by other fintech companies to keep the internet of value free and open. So I can see that, says Bill Morgan. So another interesting observation here. No, not all users, you mean American users. This is coming from El Diablo Dictator Know-It-All on Twitter. XRP is global, it's USA, that's the problem, and not the rest of the world. FFX man down here saying, or it means XRP gets through the door after a high fine for early sales, say $100 million, but no clarity for the digital asset and no US regulation until 2025. This will make Ripple look bad in the crypto industry. Jetta down here saying, one has to really realize in the end, the industry left Ripple out to dry. Instead of coming together, there was tribalism. The time is close where the decision will be made to protect business. The industry will have to do it alone, and that is the penance. That is life. That sounds terrible, says the Natural Cube here on Twitter. So, it could be a vast array of things. I think, this could actually be one of the better outcomes if we, it wouldn't be great for technology, but for XRP holders, holding XRP, realizing it has value and understanding that it is going to be the cryptocurrency that changes the world, I think that, this would give a green light for Ripple to kind of move ahead. The incumbents can have their piece of the pie. The Ripple technology, though, would not be at its maximum potential. So that's the downside there. Spiritual here also posting this. Of course, David and his colleagues are very brave men. Can you imagine the stress going on here? Susan CP down here saying, giving into the powers that be and complying to what they want. So obviously, there are people pulling the strings here, and Ripple's got to play ball. Unfortunately, because it's a very powerfully controlled banking sector that Ripple wants, to get in on the game. I hope not, but that was my first thought. Ashley Prosper down here he's saying that they are going to have to compromise their vision for the company in order to survive as a company. The cost of doing business with the U.S. government. So is it a matter of the escrow? And this is another point that we've debated on this channel and other channels. XRP Darren here saying the vision versus survival. Is it the escrow? And then down here, it reads more like the plot of a movie. Movie has happy endings, right? That coming from Jojo. Ripple Effect down here saying that doesn't seem like a positive sign. FL also saying it's always been about the escrow. Solar Flare down here saying Ripple, the company, could disappear tomorrow. Quote from Brad Garlinghouse seems more relevant now than ever. So the possibility of giving up the escrow, which again, we're coming back to this topic. Let's not forget what Gary Gensler said back when he used to teach at MIT. I believe this was from 2018. From Mr. Hubert, we all know what Joel Katz means. It's no conspiracy. Gary Gensler said it himself. Ripple will have to bribe the incumbents with 50% of their ownership. So could it mean that Ripple has to give away 50% of their company? Or even worse, possibly the escrow?
A lot of commercial banks aren't terribly excited about that. Maybe you're going to have to give some ownership. Maybe you'll have to give 50% of your ownership to the 20 banks that are now, part of this. I mean, there are other ways to build incentive systems. Maybe you put a native token in there, and you give them the native token. So there may be other incentive ways to beat the current monopolist. But having been around commercial banks for a long time, they really are looking for ways to replace their aggregators in their back office, whether it's clearing, settlement, exchanges, credit agencies. But they are deeply understanding that every idea that's pitched to them is somebody who currently is small but wants to get big and gain market power. So they're also always thinking about how to ensure that there's a check to slow down your startup from gaining market power 5, 10, and 15 years from now. They don't want you to be the next clearinghouse like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange or Intercontinental Exchange. They don't want you to be the next central node of market power. So you might share some of that with them, or you might find an incentive system.
So sharing market power with the incumbents, 50% of their ownership, in this case, Mr. Hubert is pointing to, and Gary Gensler even said that. So, it kind of works perfectly well with what David Schwartz is insinuating here. Giving up your dream, your vision for survival, and disrupting the status quo. Nobody said that would be an easy task. I've also got another clip here. This goes on for about another minute. Here's Mike Novogratz and what he said. As I've learned, when you're a rich guy, you do not break the rules. We've also heard Brad Garlinghouse talk about this. Being transparent is the best thing Ripple could have done up until now. But now I think they're faced with something even bigger. A moral decision, a financial decision, a business decision possibly.
If you're a rich guy, you don't break the rules, right? So I was like, but I could buy OTC. And so I end up calling Vitalik. I met once, didn't really know me. And I bought Ethereum from Vitalik.
You OTC'd ETH from Vitalik?
At 96 cents. I'm not going to tell you how much, but it's not an insignificant amount.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, but Ethereum they haven't ruled on yet. I bet dimes to donuts. They will say Ethereum probably was a security, but it's not anymore.
Ethereum's early advantage is apparent in so many ways. One is a regulatory advantage in that Ethereum and Bitcoin arrived on the scene before regulators were watching. And which islands were we going to buy, and what were we going to do with these hundreds of millions of dollars that people were going to drop on us? So we took a little time to explore those issues, and also the main issue, which we realized was, would we be selling unregistered securities to Americans? We took a little pause. It was a 7-month pause. I drove lots of the legal work. We got a piece of paper in our pocket before we actually launched the token sale. And
so just a bit of a medley there, rounding that out. Joe Lubin and Mike Novogratz talking about Ethereum and how, it has regulatory clarity, how confident they have been over the same period of time where Ripple has not been confident. put that up against the backdrop of Gary Gensler discussing the fact that these incumbents are going to have to pay the piper, so to speak. So a great clip here, a great little collage of clips from Mr. Hubert. Wanted to thank him for posting that. XRPJJ also posting this. Hello, everyone. Does Joel Katz's new profile background image worry you? What is he trying to say? So, a lot of people here wondering about this, speculating. John Deaton has come out and said this. It sounds to John Deaton like someone who's read the Hinman emails and drafts as well as other unredacted evidence to me. So maybe it's just a statement, an insider peek on how David Schwartz has felt about, how this is ramped up. But maybe, just maybe, he does have confidence. Hey, John, thanks for your input. I worry about the last part where he says forces them to decide between their vision and their survival. And Anders L down here responding to that. Unfortunately, nobody can tell you what he means because of its vagueness. So it is a very vague statement, I gotta say. And I mean, it's getting some of us concerned. I'm staying optimistic, guys. I mean, when in doubt, look back at the facts. Look back at everything we have seen. Look back at what the judge has said. Look back at how the judge has painted the SEC and their behavior during the case. Not to mention all the evidence, not to mention Ripple's lawyers, former SEC employees like Mary Jo White, just to name one. I'm not very concerned, but I am going to be paying close attention. XR Beans here saying, red armchairs, what happened to the bear? Going back to just 2 days ago, when David Schwartz posted this photo, his current mood, a little dejected, a little worn out, maybe because of a lot of work, and that armchair looks oddly familiar to the Bearable Guy armchair, of course, stoking more rumors that David Schwartz could in fact be Bearable Guy. And so taking that into account, his current mood, is he speaking to the broader picture of the Ripple SEC lawsuit? And is this how he's expressing his thoughts? Again, we can read into this so many different ways. I'm staying optimistic, but that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.